The auction hall buzzed with anticipation as the widow stepped through its grand doors, her heart heavy with a mix of excitement and apprehension. She had saved for years, hoping to find something extraordinary, a piece of history that could ignite a spark of adventure in her otherwise lonely life. Her eyes scanned the room until they fell upon him, a giant Viking statue, an imposing figure carved with precision and care, as though each line and curve told a story of strength and valor. She was captivated, drawn not only to the craftsmanship, but to a strange, inexplicable feeling that stirred deep within her. Little did she know, its purchase would unlock a story far more personal than she could imagine. She approached the auctioneer, his heart pounding as the bidding began. Each increment felt like a heartbeat, a pulse of possibility and destiny. Around her, others watched, eager to claim the artifact, but she was determined. Memories of her late husband, her quiet life of solitude, and the yearning for a connection, even with a piece of history, propelled her forward. When the hammer finally fell, sealing the purchase, a thrill of triumph ran through her. She didn't yet know that the giant Viking she had acquired carried a legacy one that had followed her for years without her noticing. Transporting the massive statue to her home was no small feat, requiring careful planning and several strong assistants. As it finally stood in her living room, the enormity of the figure left her both awed and uneasy. She examined the details, the intricate braids, the fierce expression, the finely carved hands holding a symbolic weapon. There was something almost lifelike in the figure, as though it had been waiting for her, aware of her presence. That evening, alone in the quiet of her home, she felt a strange warmth emanating from the statue, a silent whisper that made her shiver with curiosity. Days passed, and she found herself drawn to the Viking in ways she could not explain. She would sit nearby, reading or simply staring, imagining the lives it had witnessed, the battles it had represented, and the stories it could tell. One evening, while dusting it carefully, she noticed a small engraving hidden beneath the base, a name she recognized instantly. Her heart skipped a beat. Could it be? The intricate details that once seemed like artistry now felt like a personal message, a silent acknowledgement of something she had always sensed but never fully believed, that this figure had a connection to her. One rooted in time and emotion, the next few weeks brought an almost supernatural sense of presence in her home. She would catch glimpses of movement from the corner of her eye, hear faint whispers, and feel a protective energy surrounding her. It was both thrilling and unnerving. She began to uncover letters and notes tucked away in the Viking's base, written in a style that mirrored someone she had known long ago. Her late husband's stories of a mysterious admirer, protector who had always respected her from afar, suddenly took on new meaning. The Viking was not just a piece of art, it was a conduit of a long-standing love she had never realized existed. One evening, she invited a historian to examine the Viking, hoping to uncover the origins of its craftsmanship. As the expert examined it, she noticed how carefully the carvings mirrored the stories her late husband had once told, of the giant warrior who had admired her family for generations. The historian mentioned peculiar engravings, almost like a signature hidden among the runes. She could feel her pulse quicken. It was as if the Viking was alive, watching, waiting, and revealing a truth she had long ignored. Her fascination grew, blending awe with an emotional realization that she was not alone, that someone had been quietly devoted to her all these years. The widow's nights became a mixture of reverie and nostalgia. She would talk to the Viking as if it could respond, recounting her life, her fears, her loneliness, and her small joys. Strange coincidences began to happen, flowers left at her doorstep, letters addressed simply with her name, reminders that she was seen and valued. She realized that this giant figure, purchased as a mere artifact, had carried a story of devotion for years, a silent guardian who had loved her from afar. Each day the connection deepened, revealing the emotional weight that had always been missing from her life. Then one stormy night, a knock came at her door. She hesitated, uncertain who could be visiting at such a late hour. When she opened it, she was stunned to find a man standing there, tall, imposing, yet familiar in a way that resonated with her soul. It was him, the descendant of the guardian who had watched over her family, the one whose love had been intertwined with hers long before she ever realized. The realization hit her. The Viking had been more than a symbol. More than a sculpture, it had been a messenger. Guiding her toward the one who had cherished her from afar. Their first meeting was a blend of awe, relief, and unspoken understanding. Words were few, but the energy between them spoke volumes. She felt an undeniable pull, as if the years of solitude, longing, and mystery had all been leading to this moment. The Viking stood silently in the corner, a witness to the reunion it had orchestrated for decades. In that quiet room, filled with rain tapping against the windows and shadows playing across the walls, she understood that her purchase had not been a simple act of collecting art. It had been a step toward love she had never dared to imagine. If this tale of patience, unseen devotion, and love across time moved your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to True Soul Stories. Let others know that love can manifest in unexpected ways, and that sometimes the universe conspires to reunite hearts that were always meant to find one another. Special request, before you leave, share in the comments a story of love or devotion that surprised you. It could inspire someone to believe in the unseen. Connections in their own life, the days that followed their meeting were filled with cautious exploration and mutual discovery. She began to learn about the man behind the devotion, the depth of his family's history, the reasons he had remained in the shadows for so long, and the ways he had protected her without ever revealing himself. Each revelation drew her closer, not only to him, but to the legacy of care and love embedded in every action, every letter, every subtle message over the years. She realized that her life had been quietly shaped by someone who had always wished the best for her, and this awareness filled her with a profound sense of gratitude and wonder. He, too, was learning about her world, her struggles, her dreams, and the quiet courage she had cultivated over the years. Witnessing her resilience inspired him to open up, to share parts of himself that had remained hidden for decades. Their conversations became longer, deeper, and more meaningful, filled with laughter, tears, and moments of silence that spoke louder than words. Together they discovered that love could be both gentle and powerful, patient and urgent, existing quietly beneath the surface until the perfect moment arrived to reveal its full force. Their bond strengthened as they navigated the challenges of blending to separate worlds. She brought her experiences of solitude, self-reliance, and personal growth, while he carried a heritage of devotion, honor, and protective care. Each moment of friction became an opportunity to learn, each compromise a step toward deeper understanding. They began to recognize that true connection is forged not by perfection, but by the willingness to grow together, to honor each other's journeys, and to embrace the unknown with trust and courage. The widow began to see her home differently. No longer just a sanctuary of memories and quiet solitude, it became a shared space filled with laughter, conversation, and the presence of someone who had quietly loved her for years. The Viking, once a silent witness, now stood as a symbol of enduring devotion and the unseen threads that had guided her life. She often found herself smiling at its imposing presence, reflecting on the mysterious ways love had reached her, shaping her path toward the one who had always been waiting. Together, they started to create new traditions, blending history with the present. Weekends were spent exploring ancestral stories, visiting historical sites, and uncovering forgotten artifacts tied to his lineage. Yet even in the quiet, mundane moments, shared meals, evening walks, or reading side by side, they found joy, connection, and the deep satisfaction of shared life. Each day was an affirmation of their journey, a celebration of love that had waited patiently, hidden in plain sight, only to reveal itself when the time was right. The widow found herself reflecting on her past, realizing that every challenge, loss, and lonely night had prepared her for this unexpected reunion. Her late husband's memory remained a tender presence, but she began to understand that life had room for multiple forms of love, each unique and sacred. This new relationship did not diminish her past, but enriched her present, filling her life with hope, warmth, and the sense that she was finally seen for who she truly was. He, too, embraced the reality of their connection, He had watched her from afar, longing for the courage to reveal himself. And now he marveled at the timing, the universe's quiet orchestration of events. In her eyes, he saw the reflection of every act of devotion he had ever made, and he realized that his patience had been rewarded in the most beautiful way. Their shared life became a testament to the power of waiting, watching and loving with steadfast commitment. Even when the path forward seemed uncertain, neighbors and friends began to notice the transformation in. The seasons shifted, and with each passing month, their bond deepened in ways neither had anticipated. She began to feel a sense of security and belonging that had eluded her for years, a comfort in knowing someone cared so profoundly. Every gesture, every shared laugh, and every quiet evening together reinforced the invisible thread that had connected them long before they'd even met. The Viking, standing tall in the corner, became more than a statue. It was a guardian of memories, a symbol of a love that had waited patiently through time. He found joy in the little things, noticing the way she hummed while cooking or how her eyes sparkled when she read a compelling story. Their home, once silent and solitary, now resonated with warmth, light, and life. He learned the rhythm of her thoughts, her subtle moods, and her passions. And she began to trust him in ways she had never trusted anyone. Together they discovered that love was not just about grand declarations, but about the quiet, consistent presence of someone who understands and values you completely. Their evenings were often spent on the porch, wrapped in blankets, watching the sunset spill gold and crimson across the horizon. They spoke of their dreams, shared fears, and reminisced about the past. In those moments, the weight of years apart melted away, leaving only the deep, abiding connection between them. The widow realized that her heart had grown in capacity, able to hold both the love of her past and the unexpected, profound love that had arrived at last. The Vikings' history fascinated them both, serving as a bridge between past and present. They researched the figure together, uncovering legends and stories that mirrored the devotion they now shared. Every detail carved into the wood seemed to echo the unspoken promises and unseen protection he had offered her over the years. Their curiosity became a shared adventure, and through it, they found ways to honor the devotion that had silently watched over her, bringing history to life in their modern world. As time went on, she began to heal not only emotionally but also spiritually. The shadows of loneliness and doubt that had once clouded her days were replaced by hope, trust, and a profound sense of purpose. Her companion became not just a partner, but a mirror reflecting the strength and resilience she had always possessed. Their connection reminded her that love could arrive in unexpected forms, and that patience and faith often yield rewards beyond imagination. They celebrated milestones together, birthdays, anniversaries, and small victories that marked the beauty of ordinary life. Each celebration was infused with gratitude for the journey that had brought them together, for the silent devotion that had waited decades to be acknowledged. Friends and family marveled at the transformation, noticing the joy and warmth that now radiated from her. She often smiled at the Viking, silently thanking it for guarding her heart and guiding her toward the man who had always cherished her, the widow in her. Companion also began to give back. Using their story to inspire others, they supported community projects, mentored young people, and shared their experiences through storytelling and conversation. The message was clear: love, patience, and unwavering care have the power to change lives. The Viking remained a constant presence, a symbol of devotion and enduring love, reminding them and everyone around them of the remarkable ways life can surprise us with beauty and connection. Their mornings were gentle and deliberate, filled with quiet rituals that strengthened their bond. She would prepare breakfast while he tended to small tasks around the house, a silent declaration of care and respect. Together, they planned their days, balanced responsibilities, and created a rhythm that honored both independence and shared life. In these small, daily acts, they discovered the depth of partnership and the extraordinary comfort that comes from a love that is steady, patient, and unwavering. The widow often reflected on how a simple act, purchasing a statue at an auction, had transformed her life in ways she could never have predicted. That single decision opened doors to love, connection, and emotional fulfillment she had never dared to imagine. She realized that life's most profound blessings often arrive quietly, disguised as ordinary moments or objects waiting for the right person to recognize their hidden significance. And in recognizing it, she found not only love, but a life rich with purpose and joy. If this story of enduring devotion, patience, and the extraordinary ways love can manifest touched your heart, please engage by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing to True Soul Stories. Special request: share in the comments a moment in your life when patience or quiet devotion revealed unexpected love or support. It could inspire someone to believe in the subtle miracles of life. Your engagement helps spread hope and reminds everyone that love often finds its way when least expected.